Okay, what's the message here? How do we spin this? What's everyone else's record?
At least Kirby's won something.
Yeah?
And it's still obnoxious. All right, speaking of obnoxious, and Titus says, yeah, I hear you, pal. Thanks for listening. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers has set the world on fire with this play, all right? And the Steelers have not exactly won. You know what? I'm not even going to do that. The Jets made a choice to move on from Aaron Rodgers. I thought it was the right decision. They thought it was the right decision. They are 0-4, and the Steelers are 3-1. And somebody the other day, it might have been, was it Titus? Who the other day brought up the Parcells, you are what your record said. It was Brady Papinga. Brady Papinga said, I don't like that expression, you're not what your record says you are. But I'm going to respectfully disagree. You are what your record says you are. Now, that can change. Your record can evolve. It's a moving target in the National Football League. But right now, the Steelers are 3-1, and the Jets are 0, and oh, my God, we can't win 4. And that is the reality, and Aaron Rodgers wins. It's a quarter way of the season. It's not over yet, but so far, Aaron Rodgers better than sign the New York Jets. And credit to him. He picked the right place. They're winning football games. And not only that, they're winning football games, and again, long season, in a division where Burrow's gone, and Lamar and those guys can barely win a game. So while I think that's still a very competitive division, if the Ravens can just get their you-know-what together, credit the Steelers for proving all of us wrong so far, including certainly me. I've been a loud and boisterous Aaron Rodgers is not worth it guy. And there is time for that to be true, but it's not true so far. So credit to Aaron Rodgers. Credit to that guy. And the Jets are still the Jets. What's been a better organization for the last 3 years? The Colts or the Jets?
Oh. I mean, it's the Colts.
Is it?
Yes, I think so.
Their quarterback of the future isn't the quarterback of the future, though.
But they did not let that one decision take them down the way that missing on a quarterback has taken down the Jets every single year.
It is crazy to me how bad the New York football teams are. Being in New York doesn't guarantee you success the way that it does in baseball, and to a lesser degree can help you in the NBA. But, I mean, come on, you're New York City. You're the biggest, most vibrant city in America and one of the most incredible cities in the world. You have 2 football teams. You can't field one football team that's any good. You can't find one, between the two of you, one GM who could just make the right decisions.
I don't know how you feel about this. I would argue the Giants have been more of an embarrassment than the Jets even over the last few years.
I'm not. I mean, it's trying to, take 2 morons and have an idiot contest. And yeah, okay. Congratulations.
You both wink.
This other guy won, so doesn't make you smart. You're still a moron. You're in the competition. But way to go. Good job. Thank you, as always, to Ty Dunn. He's great. He really is. GoLongTD.com is the spot. And, look, I get it. Nobody wants to throw their money away. And so if you're not interested, fine. But if you do pay for content, GoLongTD.com is really good. It's really good stuff. And I would suggest it as something that you take seriously. Also, you can just go and you can subscribe for free. GoLongTD.com. Thank you to Andrew Bogish for his great work, as always, on the updates and for his patience, because we went a little long today, and nobody's to blame. Ryan is. No one is to blame for that. And that's my fault. I kept talking. And thank you, Ryan Hickey. Great work, man. I mean, you're bum of the week this week. It's a lock.
It's a lock. I mean, you see the Bengals last night?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was really frustrated because I thought they had a lot of candidates if you hadn't just, taken it.
They had more penalties than first downs. That is, I think, way worse than doing bum of the week secondary to what you did.
Why don't you go and listen to the Thursday bum of the week and just clip the part where I say, I want to play tomorrow. If you do this, you're bum of the week. Maybe it's not there. Maybe I misremembered. Maybe I'm off.
Maybe the audio just somehow disappeared. I don't know.
Be fun to hear. That was an audacious show. I enjoyed it. All right. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. I'm Bill Ryder, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on Ryder Than You.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
The right partner makes all the difference. For more than 185 years, we've forged personal relationships with our customers and communities, funding economic development and rallying around the causes that are important to our neighbors. With local bankers you know and trust, businesses and individuals throughout the Carolinas continue to choose United Bank. Proud to support the Pirates. Bankwithunited.com. United Bank. Member FDIC.
Fast, reliable, affordable. Most internet services don't give you all three, but U.S. Cellular Home Internet does. A trio in perfect harmony. Fast speeds, a solid network, and just $39.99 a month when bundled with a wireless plan. Built for us. Terms apply. See uscellular.com for details.
This is Brandon Tate, owner and operator of Atlantic Wireless, an authorized agent for U.S. Cellular since 1997. Visit AtlanticWireless.com to find the store near you. We go beyond the call.
Michaels & Gateway Cosmetic and Family Dentistry has been Greenville's premier dental practice for over 40 years. I am Dr. Chris Gateway, and our mission at Michaels & Gateway is to provide exceptional dental care with compassion, integrity, and innovation, ensuring every patient leaves with a healthy, confident smile. Doctors Michaels & Gateway are committed to providing an outstanding patient experience with every visit. Not only do we offer all your dental needs under one roof, in most cases, we can take care of those needs on the same day. Bring your smile to us at Michaels & Gateway Cosmetic and Family Dentistry.
Looking for your new favorite hangout spot? Come on down to the Doghouse Tavern, Aiden's veteran-owned crown jewel on 2nd Street. From open mic Mondays to music bingo Thursdays, there's always something happening. Enjoy daily drink specials, one of the best bar menus around, and live music that'll keep you coming back for more. Grab your friends, kick back, and support local at the Doghouse Tavern. Check us out on Facebook to see what's on tap this week. The Doghouse Tavern, where good times and great vibes live.
North Carolina State Parks invites you to enjoy camping your way. With the weather changing, booking your own cabin is the perfect solution for your camping getaway. Reserve campsites or cabins today at Jones Lake, Goose Creek, and Cliffs of the Neuse. Whether you enjoy traditional camping or air-conditioned cabins that can be rented with Wi-Fi, your next adventure can include hiking, beautiful scenery, and sunsets by the campfire. For information on booking a cabin, visit ncparks.gov.
Homeowners can face many challenges throughout this season, but our newest New Blue star, Dixon Williams, is here to slide in and save the day. Have a clog that's hitting a foul ball and nothing seems to be getting through? Dixon's fixing to get you flowing again. Feeling like your HVAC's in a slump? Dixon's sliding in to get your comfort back on track. Are swinging blind in a power outage? Dixon is delivering a power boost. So when problems arise, turn home strikeouts into home runs with New Blue, electric, plumbing, and air.
Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is kicking off the fall with 0% financing offers. That's right, interest rates might be high elsewhere, but at Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, you can get 0% on Ram and Jeep. Enjoy 0% for 72 months on a new 2025 Ram truck and 0% for 60 months on a 26 Ram. Also, 0% on a new 25 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Come see us at Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Drive a little, save a lot.
CopyPro, the professional office systems people, have been serving Eastern North Carolina since 1971. From Greenville to Wilmington, businesses trust CopyPro for reliable technology, award-winning service, and top brands like Konica Minolta and Ricoh. Need multi-function printers, document management, or network solutions? CopyPro delivers powerful tools backed by certified technicians and a team dedicated to your success. CopyPro, professional people, professional systems, powerful results. Visit copypro.net or call 756-3175 today.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio call-in show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, Gavigan Insurance, Greenville Auto World, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, QC Kinetics, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the Brian Bailey Show. Special guest live in the studio today is John David Baker, offensive coordinator in his second year with the Pirates. The Pirates off to that 3-2 start. And we've got Coach Baker in here to take your questions, your comments on our YouTube live page. So just check that out. If you've got anything, I'll pass it along. John David Baker live in the studio coming up after this. Big news from the Rick House. The Rick House has a brand new menu that you're absolutely going to love. New on the menu are creamy garlic parm chicken pasta, crab cakes, and our new porterhouse, half filet, half strip, tender and juicy, and grilled to perfection. The Rick House is the area's bourbon authority, featuring Willet, Jefferson Tropics, and the Frank Sinatra Select by Jack Daniels. The new menu features new, lower prices and $4 drafts all summer long. The Rick House, Red Banks Road in Greenville.
Here with Brian Cook, the comptroller for Greenville Motor Company and Greenville Auto World. Talk a little bit about the financing options that you provide.
We're here to help anybody from bad credit, poor credit, rebuilding credit, or great credit. We find the best deal through over 30 lenders here that we work with every day, and we're focused on finding the best fit for all our customers.
One website, two outstanding dealerships, Greenville Motor Company, Greenville Auto World. Try us, trust us at driveherenow.com.
East Coast Grading and Utilities is your source for clearing, hauling dirt, and concrete work. East Coast Grading and Utilities handles all sewer and water issues as well.
I'm David Bond. Whether putting in a new subdivision or helping you with any and all of your drainage problems, I can get the job done. Call me at 531-7494.
No job is too big or too small. East Coast Grading and Utilities. Friends helping friends. 531-7494 for East Coast Grading and Utilities.
This is John Gavigan with the Gavigan Agency. Our top priority is doing what is best for our members. Whether you are buying a new vehicle, a new home, protecting your family with life insurance, or filing a claim, our agency will be there every step of the way. Our goal is to become a trusted advisor for you and your family for all of your personal and commercial insurance needs. Give us a call in Greenville at 756-1400 for a car, home, business, or life insurance quote today, and give us the opportunity to show you the benefits of doing business with someone who cares.
It's that time of year again. Football season is upon us, and those of us that live in eastern North Carolina know what a special time of year it is. This is Landon Minges with Minges Bottling Group. I'm the fourth generation of my family to have the honor of distributing Pepsi-Cola products to my neighbors in eastern North Carolina. For over 75 years, my family has taken pride in this great responsibility, and we are proud to have remained locally owned and operated for over 7 decades. When you purchase a Pepsi in eastern North Carolina, you are supporting your community and keeping those dollars right here in your own backyard. Support local, drink Pepsi, go Pirates.
This is Jeremy Lewis, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
Hi, welcome back to our show. John David Baker in his second year as the offensive coordinator at East Carolina, a 2024 Broyles Award nominee, and he's with us. We last visited during camp, and it was hot and it was crazy outside, and now it's cooled down a lot. You guys had a practice this morning. We had a chance to go out for a little bit this morning, but how was practice today?
It's good. Guys are jumping around well, and they've gotten a couple days off, which they've obviously appreciated. So it was nice for them to get back in the swing of things and start preparing for a really good Tulane team.
I talked to Blake yesterday, and Coach Harrell said that he wanted to get everybody out of the building for 2 days completely, just to get everybody refreshed. And people forget the fact that not only you assistant coaches, but the administrative staff, everybody on the staff, it's almost like a 7-day-a-week job. I mean, you got to be there just about all the time. So to get everybody out for 2 days, that had to mean a lot for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of moving parts, like you said, from the operations people to recruiting to coaches, players. And so anytime you can get some time off, and it's rare and during the season, but just the way that our schedule falls and all that, to be able to get a couple days is huge.
When you look at what you've had so far this season, 3-2 on the year offensively, I know you feel like maybe you've left something out there, but you've had some really, explosive plays. When you balance it all out, where are you right now?
I think there's times where you look back at it where you're frustrated, but there's also times you look at it and you see the potential. And for us, is what's exciting and what you got to stay optimistic about is that we don't feel like we've played our best ball yet offensively. And trust me, I'm frustrated at times, but at the end of the day, like, you got to understand it's a work in progress, and we're trying to get, figure out what it's going to look like up front with those 5, and figuring out the right back, and figuring out the right rotation receiver, and all those type of things, and figure out what makes us best, and getting into a rhythm and a groove with that. And last year it took us 8 games to figure that out, 7-8 games to figure that out, and I think we're really, really close. I felt like going into the Army game, even on a short week, I felt like we were right there, and again, left some on the table versus those guys, but I still feel that same way.
Questions or comments for John David Baker, offensive coordinator at East Carolina, on our YouTube page for Pirate Radio. The 5 days between the BYU loss and the Army game had to be just total chaos as far as putting a game plan together.
Yeah, it was just trying to. You got to find a healthy balance of making sure we've got enough going into the game to go attack and try and create explosive plays, but at the same time, like, you can't do too much, and you got to go out there and play free and play with great energy and great effort. And I feel like we did a really good job of that offensive, defensively, and. It was a lot. It was a lot on the players, and I think it showed a lot of where they are and where we're at as a team. Just to be able to take a loss like that, where you felt like you let those guys off the ropes at BYU, and then bounce back and open conference play and start 1-0 and be able to play the way that we did for the most part of the game.
Speaking of starts, the start you guys had against Army, and I think one of the keys, Caton maybe had a little shaky against BYU, Anthony Smith a little shaky at times, to get those guys get back on the saddle. And the first pass, I think, set the tone when Anthony, I think it was funny because the way he caught the ball, you're like, is he fighting it? What's he trying to do? But he made the catch, and then it all just snowballed in that first quarter in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, it was a point of emphasis. I felt like we had not done a good job of just starting the game fast and aggressively. And so there was a point of emphasis to come out, run the football, because if you're going to play Army, you're going to play Navy, those guys, like, you've got to commit to running the ball. Even when it's not hitting great, you got to, because if you saw the week before, they play North Texas, and North Texas does the same thing. They go up 21-0.
Yep.
They get a little pass happy, go a couple 3-and-outs, and all of a sudden you look up and you're playing overtime when you shouldn't have. And so I felt like we did a really good job start of the game establishing that, but also hitting explosive plays that made the difference.
When you see Anthony come through like he did with that first catch, and then you go back to him, and the catch he made in the end zone, I mean, that was a circus catch. He spun all the way around and still hung on.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like, the wind was blowing a little bit at the start of the game with those thunderstorms blowing in, and I think on the first one it kind of jumped up on him a little sooner, and I'm glad he had his helmet on because he caught it with his face mask. But no, it was great to see for him and Caton.
Yeah.
Because those two, more than anybody, were frustrated with just how they played the week before. And like I said, it says a lot about the team, but it really says a lot about those two for them to be able to bounce back and make big plays and help us win the football game.
How hard is it, though, when you get up like that? You want to keep smashing the gas, and really you guys did. You got stopped on 4th down a couple of times, and just couldn't get anything going as far as scoring a touchdown. But you had that mindset that, hey, we got to keep scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing, we saw a week before. Like, you can't go into a shell, and I don't feel like we did. It's like you said, we just didn't convert on a couple 4th and shorts, which is inexcusable. Like, those have to be automatic. And but for us, it was about, you got to continue to run the ball, and you got to be smart, because you look at these games that Army has played this year, like, they're funky now. Like Kansas State, same thing. They're up like 14-0. Army gets a late score before halftime, and then Kansas State snaps it 9 times in the second half, and they held the ball for, something crazy.
Yeah, true.
Like 25 minutes of the second half, which is unheard of. And so, you got to play a funny game with those guys, and it's ugly at times, but at the end of the day, you know, you walk away with a 28-7 win, and you're 1-0 in conference.
You know, the worst part about being, and maybe the hardest part about being an offensive coordinator, is that when you make the play call, you got 40-some thousand people who think they're smarter than you are. Does that ever go through your mind at all? Hey, I'll give you the case in point. We've talked about it, you know, so much, but the bowl game, and you run the ball late in the game with Rajay, and I think everybody in the stands like, what are we doing? And all of a sudden they start cheering, yelling and screaming because you got a touchdown. But that's got to be one of those. It's like a weatherman, I guess. Whenever the weatherman gets it wrong, they all say, "Hey, you got that one wrong." But everybody wants to call a play, don't they?
Yeah, no doubt. And it's funny because, you know, we put so much time into this, and, you know, we try to go attack things the way that we feel is best and what fits our players. And there's a lot that goes into each play call and why we're doing what we're doing. But that's the beauty of it. And I've said this 1,000 times. Like, that's what I love about this place is that people care.
They do care.
They're passionate and they want to have their say, which I love because it means they care. And that, you know, as long as they keep showing up, that's all I care about.
Yeah, they love it. And I tell you what, but it's just fascinating to me. And then you hear the post game show here on Pirate Radio and all these people, and you know, and plus they've had a couple of adult beverages throughout the day, so they can just speak freely. But it's always been fascinating to me when you call them plays like that. And what other fascinating thing is how quickly you have to get the play in. I mean, you don't have time to analyze and say, okay, we could do this, but that free safety's coming down here. That probably wouldn't work. Well, maybe we could do this. You got to be boom, 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 don't you?
Yeah, and that's why, you know, with what we try and do is we run a system that we feel like has answers, and that's where there's so much on the quarterback as far as he's got to choose right, and he's got to put the ball where it's supposed to be on every play, and he's got 1,000 different decisions to make. But that's the whole deal. If you're trying to sit out there and call the perfect play, that's when you're going to run into issues. And for us, we're just trying to call things that have answers and let the quarterback go make us right.
Questions or comments on our YouTube page. Kenny writes in and says, Coach, do you have any plays that you would use both running backs at the same time?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got different things that we've played in 20 personnel with two backs in the backfield. And again, it always comes down to, if you're going to do that, now who are you taking off the field?
Right.
And it's not so much, you know, we want to play in certain personnels, or we want to play in 11, or we want to play in 12. For us, it's one, what gives us the best chance to win. And so now you're talking about if you're going to play with two running backs, okay, well, you're going to take Brock Spalding off the field, you know, who's our leading receiver and probably most explosive guy right now, or are you going to take Yannick, you know, you're probably the most sure-handed guy off the field. You're going to take Javante Connor, who I think leads the country in explosive pass plays for a tight end. So, like, there's that healthy balance there.
Right.
And you know, I'd love to get two running backs, but now you're talking about taking a really good player off the field, and so you got to find a balance in that and figure out how to use your pieces, because we do. We're lucky and we've got a lot of pieces to use.
We'll talk more in detail in a little bit about the running backs, but how do you feel as a group that they've played this year?
I think they've gotten better. I think the last two games have been their best two games as far as I felt like early in games, Coastal and Campbell, that we just missed some runs. You know, just didn't have our foot on the gas from the jump. And I feel like these last two games, BYU and especially Army, like from the jump, came out and played really well.
Another question coming in from Mark says, why do you run high-tempo offense when you're trying to run the clock down? Which is kind of one of those, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't type things, isn't it?
No, it is. It's a healthy balance of, you know, when you're playing a team like Army, it's running the football, but also you got to stay in rhythm.
Right.
And there's like I said, there's a fine balance to that, whether it's using motion, whether it's using huddle, which we can do. But yes, I've been a part of where it's looked really, really bad because it's just not what we do. But we've tried to evolve over time and get better in those situations where we're playing a team like Army, we have the lead, and how we can still go get first downs and run the clock and in the game.
And you also have the deal, and I'm not sure what the terminology is, but what signal's called. I love it when I see it, though. You know, everybody comes up to the line of scrimmage, there's a false, you know, count, you know, red, hut, you know, and then everybody stops and everybody looks over.
Yeah.
And you can kind of, you know, hold off as far as time goes with something like that, right?
Yeah, and that's another way for us to just kind of manipulate. You know, we appear like we're playing fast, but really we're slowing down, seeing what the defense is in and then calling the best play from there. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and we used several of them the other night, and obviously it worked to some degree and helped us win.
I think one of the early things you said on this same broadcast right here is that we haven't played our best football yet, and Blake Harrell said that yesterday. That's going to drop at the coaches show today, but he said, we're playing really good football at times, and we haven't even come close. We haven't scratched the surface yet, and I think that's the exciting thing about the second half of the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been our focus, and that's what our guys have kind of rallied around is, we've shown, you watch that first quarter versus Army, like that's what we want to be. That's what we should be, and that's what the expectation is for our players. And so them seeing that and understanding like what it takes to go play a full game that way and to go play a full 4 quarters, because we're more than capable of doing that, and we've got to go clean up a few things in situational football to allow us to go do that.
5 games in September, 5 in November, just a pair in October, the great month of football. Yeah. And the Pirates have just 2. We've talked a lot about the schedule, but it's really odd with the the bookend buys and the 2 games on Thursday night right in the middle, all these Saturdays off. Did you enjoy this first Saturday? Did you watch a little Ole Miss football?
Yeah, it was weird, like to wake up on a Saturday and not even think about, like a lot of times, like if you do get a Saturday off after a Thursday game, you're immediately going back to work on Sunday for that game that next week. But we had Saturday and Sunday off for the most part, and so usually on those Saturdays you're sitting there thinking about like the next day,
right?
And like, all right, what do we?
You're not like the rest of us relaxing on the couch watching football.
Exactly, and so it was a weird feeling, but it was nice. It was nice just to sit and be a college football fan and watch a little ball and enjoy time at the house.
Hey, what'd you think of the Ole Miss game?
They've done a really, really good job of using that quarterback, the second guy that they've had to play with. Yeah. I'll be interested, not to start a QB controversy on Pirate Radio, but it'll be interesting to see, like,
it goes all the way down to Oxford.
Yeah, what happens whenever Austin gets healthy and how they'll kind of manage that. Yeah. For sure.
It'll be interesting. John David Baker live in the studio. Your questions and comments on our YouTube page. We've got a couple more that just came in. Back with more on the Brian Bailey Show on this Tuesday, on this bye week Tuesday after this.
Every team knows that the two-point play can be a winning move. That's why I'm here. State Farm agent Timothy Sawyer and my team are here to help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score some savings by combining your home and auto. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, Timothy Sawyer, at 493-0002 today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Eastern North Carolina, it's your guy, Roger Harris. I train to be the best on the field, but even more, it's about being my best for them. I know my joints won't heal on their own. Arthritis, it's coming, unless I stop it. Prevention beats pain. QC Kinetics use your body's own power to heal, rebuild, and restore. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Don't wait until pain sidelines you from the game of life. QC Kinetics, regenerative medicine, real results. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 252-645-6458.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We filled the trucks so you'll save big bucks during the Lazy Boy Truckload Sale at Bostic Sugg Furniture. Look for the Lazy Boy truck in our parking lot. It's filled with Lazy Boy furniture at huge savings. Take advantage of big rig discounts of up to 50% off Lazy Boy recliners and motion sofas, Lazy Boy stationary furniture, leather, sectionals, and chairs. But quantities are limited. There's no reorders, no rain checks. So roll in before these savings roll out during the Lazy Boy Truckload Sale at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
When it comes to protecting your home, don't gamble with just any roofer. Trust the pros at the Boone Group Roofing. Locally owned by Toot Boone, they've been serving all of Eastern North Carolina with honest, high-quality roofing you can count on. They offer no money down, and every job is backed by a 5-year workmanship warranty because your roof should be done right the first time. Don't wait. Call today at 252-714-0021 for a roof that's built to last and service you can trust. The Boone Group Roofing is on top of their game.
The Toot Boone Boogie. This is Josh Moylan, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. John David Baker, offensive coordinator, is our guest, taking your questions and comments on our YouTube page. Bandit Plays writes in and talks about the red zone trips where the Pirates have come up with no points. What are some ways you think they can improve on the red zone efficiency? We were talking during the break, and as you said, it's not just one problem. It's just one thing. The beauty of football is that 11 guys have to be on the same page, and if one guy's not on the same page, that's what you get.
Yeah, and that's what we spent the last 2 days doing a lot of self-scout of ways that we can be better. And obviously the glaring one for us is down the red zone. And it's not so much just red zone play. It's really come down to situational football and fourth and shorts. And we've not converted those at the rate that we should. And, that's the thing I love about Coach Harrell is he's going to be aggressive. He's going to allow us, to go for those fourth and shorts down in the red zone instead of kicking field goals, and we got to cash in, and that's on us as an offense, and we got to figure out different ways that put us in better situations, and like we always say, sometimes it's not necessarily scheme, it's players. Like let's get behind the right people, run the ball behind the right people, throw the ball to the right people in those situations to help us convert those. So it's a multitude of things, but that's the glaring thing that obviously we got to get cleaned up. We got to get cleaned up quickly.
Yeah, Coach said that the analytics, the book there says to do this or do that. And then he joked, I may throw that sucker away. Yeah.
I don't blame him.
But it's one of those things, yeah, but so many times you're watching football and it's 4th and 1 from the 20 and they bring the field goal in and everybody's booing. Everybody's like, come on, go for it. And then you don't get it, then they're booing again,
that's
right?
Yeah, you're danged if you do, danged if you don't as a head coach at times. But that's, like I said, that's where that's who we've been ever since Coach Harrell's taken over. We've been aggressive, and like I said, we got to do our part offensively, and we got to go cash in on those because think about the game the other night. You're up 21-0. You could come in, kick a field goal, go up 24-0, or you can stay on the field, convert, and go up 28-0. Now the game's really over.
Yeah. Exactly. Kenny writes in and says, it really is hard to call those plays from our seats in the stands. And the funny thing, while they're calling them in the stands, nobody's going by that play.
Yeah.
So that's got to be frustrating for the
I'll buy you a megaphone so you can yell out so I can hear you. I need some help sometimes.
There you go. John David Baker in the studio with us, talking Pirate football on the offensive side. Is there any part of the game that you've been surprised that, hey, we're a little better here than I thought we might be?
No, I mean, nothing's really surprised me. Obviously we're not running the ball as effectively as I'd like. But one thing I remember mentioning this, I think last time I came and talked to you, was we were throwing and catching really well during fall camp. And it reminded me of a couple of those years at North Texas where we were throwing it all over the place, and I feel like that's where we are. And so I think going forward, you got to lean into those strengths. We're always going to run the ball, and that's what this thing is built on. But at the end of the day, we've got some really, really talented receivers. We got a quarterback that's playing at a high level. And so we got to lean into those strengths a little more and make sure we're doing the things that are going to help us win.
I just like the way Caton, carries himself, even in a loss, even in a frustrating loss. the BYU game, because that one had to really sting for him. But the way he carried himself, it reminded me a lot of Holton Ahlers when, Holton was a great quarterback, but he had a bad game or two, throughout the career that he had. But the way he carries himself and the way he takes responsibility, it's nobody's fault but my own. I was trying to make a play here. I misread something there, but I mean, he owns everything.
Yeah, and that's the mark of a real leader and a real quarterback, because anybody can go do a post-game interview after you go throw 5 touchdown passes
right.
or anything.
Those are the easy ones.
Yeah, but you go and you make some critical mistakes that you feel like cost your team the game. And to go up there and own those things and take accountability, and there's accountability on all of us, me included. But that's what I love about Caden, and that's why the guys respect him so much, is because he's that type of person every single day. Takes accountability for everything he does, and he holds other guys to that accountability as well.
And credit to you and credit to Coach Harrell, too, that if a Caden Hauser has a game like that and says, look, I really don't want to do the interviews, you guys wouldn't say, well, don't worry about it. Just go in the locker room. You guys would say, hey, Caden, you got to go out there. That's just part of this job. That's part of what we do. Although you didn't have to coax him. I mean, I know him well enough that he was, he's ready to stand up and just talk about those particular plays, what happened, and how you can learn from it. And that's the thing you want. When you make a mistake in life and anything, you want to be able to learn from that mistake and go from there. Joel writes in and says there seems to be a conflict between being aggressive, going for it on 4th down, and conservative play calling on that aggressive 4th down play. What do you think of those two ideas?
No, I think it's, like I said, it's more so we've got to find ways to use people better, if that makes sense. Like, it's not so much scheme all the time. Like, what's the best scheme here? It's run the ball behind your best O-lineman. Give it to your best running back. Throw it to your receiver that you trust the most in those situations. It's those type of things, because it's, you got to think there in those situations. Do I want to put my money in one area, or do I want to put my money in the thing that I trust? And so that's where I think we've got to get away from a little bit of the scheme piece of it, and more so like, hey, let our players go make plays, because we've got the guys to go do it.
You got the bye week coming up, but I'm sure the work on Tulane has started, and it's going to be a very difficult assignment to go to New Orleans and play a Tulane football team that's one of the favorites year in and year out in the American. I mean, that's a difficult assignment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about a team that has 2 Power 5 wins this season alone. They played in the American Conference Championship a year ago. Coach Summerall does a great job. They've been really, really good on defense. They've been steady the whole time. We played them 2 years ago when I was at Ole Miss down at their place, and it was a dogfight. I mean, we went all the way to the 4th quarter, and so they've done a really, really good job down there. It's a hard place to play. But it's a huge challenge for us, but one we're excited about, and one, there's nothing better than going on the road and playing a great atmosphere against a great team.
And as you've said, it's one of those, the schedule is the schedule, but right now, you get to enjoy the bye, and then you get on a little bit of a schedule because you play a Thursday night, then you come back and play another Thursday night, so you get some semblance of normalcy, if you will, for those 2 games before you get another time off. I think it's 16 days, right, before the Temple game on November the 1st. But still, the work on Tulane, I think it comes at a good time. The bye week does, because you're able to put extra time after, not being able to put any extra time in the Army.
Yeah, no, this bye week came at a great time for us, because you're looking at coming off of 2 really physical football games versus BYU, and then turn around playing Army 5 days later. So, obviously from that standpoint, our guys needed a little break to get healthy, and we've got some guys dinged up that could really use it. So, like I said, it came at a great time for us. Get healthy, get recharged, and go make a run at this thing.
Let's go through some of the positions and talk about some of the stats and some of the things that you're looking for in the second part of the season. Obviously, let's start at quarterback with Caden Hauser, and Caden has thrown 68.3% of his passes he's completed. He's really done a nice job. 7 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He's only been sacked 4 times so far on the season, but just his leadership, and you couldn't ask for much more out of Caden Hauser, could you?
No, he's playing at a really high level, and he would tell you that those, the interceptions are way too high, and And I agree. But no, he's just making great decisions. And I think if you look at, and I don't know how many times we've thrown it, it's probably close to 200 times already this season. And to only give up 4 sacks, that speaks to the offensive line doing a great job in pass pro, but it also speaks more to the quarterback and getting the ball out of his hand and being decisive and not sitting back there patting the ball. And so, no, couldn't be happier with where he's at, and excited to see what he does the rest of the way.
And he's way up there as far as the national stats go. I mean, I've got him at 8th in passing yards per game. Someone wrote in and said he's 4th in the nation in passing yards, total passing yards. So, so you see those 2 stats, but he's way up there.
Yeah, no, and that's what. He's earned it because he put the work in, and he did all the things during the off season that allowed him to have success. And he's got guys around him that he can, his job's never easy, but he's got a nice job where he's got good playmakers that he can get the ball to.
Do you see a scenario where you may even use him more, just airing it out more? I know you like the running game, and I like the running game too, but do you see a scenario, hey, just go out there and fling it?
Yeah, no, it's like I said earlier, like at some point, like I think during the early part of the non-conference season, like you still are trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Like you think you know who you are and who you want to be, but at the end of the day, like we're going to do the things that are going to help us win football games. And if it means we need to throw the ball a little more, trust me, I'm all for it. I came up in air raid guys. So, but there's always going to be a healthy balance. Like you gotta win you gotta run the football to win championships. But you can win a lot of football games throwing it. And so I think there's a healthy balance there. And like I said, if that's what's going to help us win football games, by golly, we'll do it.
How much of a luxury has it been to have Mike Wright in that quarterback room? And will we see more of him down the line?
Yeah, I hope so. And, it's kind of just been funky. Like in the BYU game, there were some things there, but we just never got into a position where we could get to it. And then obviously coming off a short week, you're just trying to cram as much as base install and stuff as you can into the game. And so you lost them there. But I think going forward, every game, hopefully we're going to have some things that he can get involved because he's a playmaker. He's electric with the ball in his hand. You got to see a little bit versus Coastal, but not near as much as I was hoping to this point. But that's the other thing about Mike is Mike's a great teammate and great leader.
Great guy.
He's been awesome. He's been awesome.
At the Inside Pirate Athletics at Tiebreakers the other night when he was one of the guests, I mean, everybody at Tiebreakers said he was just going around table to table, meeting people, shaking people's hands, and just a wonderful person to be around.
Yeah, I heard about it, and I'm ready to hear about when he's going to run for mayor for Greenville.
Yeah. Watch out, Mayor Conlon. We got one coming for you. And Mike, I may have told you this in the summertime, but we were on vacation, and some Vanderbilt folks saw my pirate hat and asked me if I was from East Carolina. I told them yes, and they said Mike Wright was with us at Vanderbilt, and he's a great kid, and you're going to love interviewing him. I hadn't met him at the time, but they're exactly right. And I hope to see, is he someone maybe from the gun that can cause some issues? If you got it 4th and 1, snap into him, Wildcat version, and go to it?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And that's where, again, it goes back to maybe we need to find some better ways to use our players instead of always looking at certain schemes, things like that.
All right, let's take a break with John David Baker. We've got him until about 12:45 or 12:50. So let's take a break with John David Baker. Questions, comments on our YouTube page. Back with more on this bye week Tuesday for East Carolina Pirate football after this.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Rhonda from Russell's Clothing in downtown Washington. Fall weather is coming and we're ready for some pirate football. Russell's has a long history of dressing pirate fans, both men and women. For the men, we offer both logoed and non-logoed from Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Smathers and Branson. Our ladies love Tyler Bowe, Emily McCarthy, and Never a Wallflower for game day. Join us in wishing the Pirates a healthy and successful season. And remember, for all your game day needs, shop Russell's in downtown Washington. Go Pirates!
When it comes to building or remodeling your home, every detail matters. Hi, this is Kathy Herring with KDL Construction, and we believe great design begins with careful planning and ends with flawless execution. With open communication and a true partnership mindset, we guide you through every step, turning your vision into reality. Our goal, to deliver more than a building project. We create an experience that is seamless, stress-free, and inspiring. Visit KDLConstructionLLC.com to start your transformation today. KDL Construction, your vision, our craft.
It's bow time. Sure, you've had a sausage biscuit before, but have you had the smoked sausage biscuit from Bojangles? Well, now is your chance. Juicy, slow-cooked smoked sausage is grilled to perfection and served on a fluffy, made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. No one does breakfast like Bojangles, and this smoked sausage biscuit doesn't disappoint. Right now, you can get 2 for just $5. Start your day with this flavor-packed deal while it lasts. It's Bo time.
Do you have any real estate questions about buying or selling residential or commercial properties? Are you curious about this current real estate market? Do you need a property manager for all your rental houses? This is proud ECU alum Scott Harris with Harris Real Estate Group, and I would love to help answer every question you have and show you a real estate experience that will be memorable and enjoyable. Every step of the way, I'm here to make your dreams a stress-free reality. Call me today at 347-1857. That's 347-1857. Go Pirates!
Now is the time to plan your end-of-year celebrations. The Beaufort Hotel offers a festive and elegant setting to make your holiday party unforgettable. It's the perfect coastal location for gathering colleagues, friends, or family. The Beaufort Hotel is now accepting private event reservations for December. For everything from cozy dinners to spirited receptions, the Beaufort Hotel catering team can help you create a memorable event filled with seasonal flavors, coastal charm, and impeccable service. And save you time to celebrate, too. Make it a real holiday party, then spend the night safe and sound in the luxury of the Beaufort Hotel. Turn your holiday party into a true getaway. Ask about reserving a group block of rooms for your guests. It's a celebration made easy, all under one roof. Call the Beaufort Hotel at 252-728-3000. That's 252-728-3000. And make your holiday event this year memorable at the Beaufort Hotel.
The convenience of Pitt Greenville Airport is waiting just outside your front door. Service is back, so you're connected to destinations worldwide through flights from American Airlines. Plan your next trip. Book your flights today at flypgv.com or aa.com.
Good news, business travelers. PGV and American Airlines has added a new early morning flight available now. Book today at aa.com and be on time for that connection in Charlotte. Fast, convenient, and close to home, PGV has American flights perfect for your next trip. PGV, where the Pirates fly.
This is former ECU baseball player and mayor of Greenville, PJ Connolly, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. We've got about 10 or 12 minutes to go with John David Baker. John writes in and says, Coach, have you had any thoughts about playing the spread offense inside the red zone, more of set offense and plays to your supreme playmakers? Let me read that again. Have any thoughts been put out to not playing the spread offense inside the red zone? That's what it says. More of a set offense and plans to get it to your supreme playmakers. I mean, there's a mix of just about everything. I don't think you just go out and spread it out every time, especially on 4th and 1.
Yeah, no, we've jumped into some 12 personnel stuff. We've jumped into some condensed sets. Did it a couple times the other night. Scored the first touchdown on like kind of a bigger set out of 11 personnel, and so we've done some different things. I do think there's still finding a healthy balance of maybe being a little more aggressive down there and like trying to end drives and take shots at the end zone and things of that nature. But no, I feel like we've had a healthy mix, but we got to continue to evolve and be better.
Let's talk about the running backs. And Bandit Plays writes in and says, with so many dangerous running backs on the same roster, how is balancing all of their touches changing throughout the year? Because they have been very balanced.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like I said earlier, like trying to figure out who we are as an offense and what our strengths are, I think it's figuring out those backs. And I think now going forward, you'll see us lean on a couple guys a little more so than the rest. I think start continuing to lean on London. I think he's gotten better and better. And like I said, the last 2 games, I think he's played really well. I think he's got the highest average per carry among them, and so he's somebody that we got to continue to lean on, and then continue to mix Parker and Marlon, those guys in there.
London Montgomery with 209 yards to date. Parker Jenkins 138. Marlon Gunn 126. Average yards per carry, you got London, as you said, 4.1. Parker 3.1. Marlon at 4.1. So it's been kind of a three-headed monster, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, we got to continue to figure out, probably reduce that down to just a couple guys and help them get into a better rhythm throughout the game, run the ball.
Joel writes in and talks about the fact that Ole Miss had some success against Tulane. How much do you use that tape to kind of build your game plan?
Yeah, we'll use it a ton because, you look at some of the other games like Duke and Northwestern, they're playing in a bunch of 12, like, heavy run the football type sets, which does not fit us great. And so you try and find the best tape available, and obviously Ole Miss, we can relate to those guys and see what they did that had success with and try and use it and do some things off of it.
I watched the tight ends work out today, and I've always liked that position, and I really like it this year because you guys are taking advantage of it. And as you said, Giovante's just had a great season so far, and the sky's the limit for that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's done a great job. He's played a lot more to this point than I think we probably thought. Just with DeCirio's been banged up a little bit, and like I said, the bye week came at a great time for him. To get DeCirio back to 100% will be huge. And have the ability to go play those guys at a higher volume, I think will be huge for us.
DeCirio and Javonte, JC, both have 9 catches, but as you said, Javonte has 193 yards on those 9 catches, and that's among the leaders in the nation as far as tight ends go.
Yeah, and it was nice to see the ball find them down in the red zone the other night. It's found both of them multiple times on third down conversions, which is huge. When you got a couple tight ends that you really trust, that makes it hard on a defense because third down passing situations, those guys are able to kind of zero in on usually finds. But now you got to account for a tight end that can go run like a receiver and get himself open. That makes them really hard to defend.
And JC's touchdown, I mean, the C kind of parted right in the middle, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a nice one. And again, it was set up by Run the Football.
Yeah.
And it popped just like we wanted it to. It was a great way to go up 21-0.
Got to run that football. Let's talk about the receivers a little bit. Anthony Smith leads the Pirates with 28 receptions. Yannick's right behind him with 26. Brock Spalding up there at 22. Very balanced yards. I mean, they're right there together. 12.6, 13, and 14.5. But you look at the total yards, and you've got Anthony leading, but they're all over 300, close to 350.
Yeah, no, and that's what that's what we try and pride ourselves on. And I call him the GOAT, but Coach Leach used to always talk about how being balanced on offense is not being 50% pass, 50% run. Being balanced on offense is making people defend every skill position on the field. And so for us, when like our numbers are balanced out like that between our 3 main receivers, tight ends, and those running backs, like that to me is, makes us really hard to defend because you can't just zero in on one person because we're using, every person on the field. And that's something that we got to continue to do throughout the season.
Pirates had the lead 21-6 in the fourth quarter, lining up for a field goal. Take us through your thoughts. Did you hear the call for the fake? Did you know it was coming? And what did you see?
Well, I looked out there and I knew Kyler wasn't our normal holder. And so then I looked at Mike Wright and I said, "Are we running a fake?" And he's like, "Yes." And so then I turn and look, and sure enough, and all I see is 5, the corner for Army coming off the edge, and I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna smoke Kyler." And all of a sudden, like, it was like hide the midget. They didn't even see him. I couldn't see him on the line of scrimmage, and next thing you know, you see little number 0 running down the sideline for a touchdown.
And the blocks that he got on that, they were really, I mean, it was very well executed. You talk about so much about execution, and you're frustrated when this doesn't execute that, but you got to praise it when it does all work, and they executed it, didn't they?
Absolutely. And what was really cool is a couple of guys that, they don't get a ton of offensive or defensive snaps, but all of a sudden they find themselves on special teams and in a critical situation, they go out there and do their job and execute.
I had a couple of people ask me after the game, and they said, why did the Pirates show that play, if in a game where it wasn't over yet, but it was pretty much the clincher. But what I said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I said is you don't get that look from everybody. Right. That had to be a look that they knew Army was going to give them, and they figured they could, because all trick plays, the fans think, they decided to pull a rabbit out of their hat, but they've all been worked on. They all know what they're going to see on tape. They all know what they expect to see, and it all has to work out to run a trick play like that.
Yeah, I mean, special teams is just like offense, defense. Like every week you're watching, what are they giving us? Where are they, susceptible to a big play? Per example, like BYU, we had a trick play down in the red zone for BYU that we couldn't use the next week versus Army. And so it changes every week. And, the other thing is that I'll tell you, like, I know as fans you think this way, and coaches, we don't, like, as a coach, you're so zeroed in on that one game and doing everything possible to go win that football game, and you can't worry about next week or what you show, what you don't show. It's all about going 1-0 and winning that football game.
Yeah, it's really the whole thing is fascinating with trick plays and just when you decide to do them, when you don't decide to do them, and they can blow up in your face too. I'm sure you've had plays before that you said, hey, we thought everything about this play, and then some knucklehead on the other team doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and all of a sudden you got problems.
Yeah, just like you're counting on your 11, 18 to 22-year-olds to do what they're supposed to. You're also counting on the other 11 on the other side of the ball to be where they're supposed to be and do what they're supposed to when you're trying to run those things. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables.
A question came in I think I know the answer to, but are there some trick plays Pirate fans and Pirate opponents haven't seen yet? I'm sure there are a bunch.
Yeah, no, trust me. Like, we're always trying to find ways to create explosive plays, and a lot of times those are built off of things that you've done several times throughout the season, and I think you're getting to the point to where now hopefully we can take advantage of some of those and protect some of our base game plans that we always do.
Will we see Pedway sometime on the field soon?
Yeah, I think he's gotten better and better and easing back into finding a role. I think he had a couple catches versus Army, but yeah, I think you'll continue to see him play more and more as we go.
As you continue to get ready for Tulane this week, and before you actually start the game planning process, are there things offensively you really want to tweak, that you really want to say, look, we need to screw this thing down a little harder, a little tighter, and get this thing right?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about how our schedule falls, that we're able to do some self-scout and been able to do it the last couple days and figure out, like, because it happens every year. Usually it doesn't happen until at the end of the season when you're able to really look at it, but you're able to look at it and see, like, things that you think you're doing well that you're really not doing well, or things like, hey, this has been more productive and more explosive than you realize, and hey, we need to figure out different ways to continue to do that. And so that part has been nice to be able to look at some things and see us, and really, again, like, it's not a secret, like, it's the situational football, it's the fourth and shorts that have really killed us, because third downs, I think we're like 55%, which is like 12th in the country in conversion rate, which is, really good. But it doesn't matter, because those fourth downs, those fourth and shorts that we're not converting right now, those are like turnovers. You're turning the football over to the other team. And so we've done a nice job of protecting the ball as far as throwing interceptions and fumbles. But those fourth down conversions, or lack thereof, those are turnovers in our mind, and those are the things that we've got to clean up and do a much better job at.
And if you weren't with us earlier in the show, Coach elaborated on that and said, look, all the fourth downs that we've gone for that we haven't gotten, it's been a different thing every time. It hasn't been one thing like, hey, we're not blocking it well, or hey, we're not running the right play. Every time it's something different, which is frustrating at times, but it's also very fixable, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's not like we're sitting there with a glaring issue like, oh, we got no chance, or we're going to fix that. No, it's all fixable, and that, again, it goes back to we have not played to our potential yet, and we've shown it, we've flashed it, but that's what's exciting is that I think we are right on the verge of being who we want to be and playing how we want to play.
Yeah, Caden Hauser at quarterback, and you get to work with him every day as a quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator. But I think the two of you guys, not only with good times or bad times, but it's kind of like the relationship is so very important, and you guys do a good job with it.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite thing about coaching, and that's why I got into coaching, is just because of the relationship piece of it. And I've had the ability and I the fortune of watching Caden go through a lot during his career, not only here, but just hearing his story coming from Michigan State and all that. But even last year, not being named the starter, like that, our relationship grew more during that time than anything else, just because I had to help him work through that, and he did a lot of that work on his own and matured a ton, and that's why, like, seeing him have success that he's having right now is so gratifying for not only him but for me. Like, just to you watch somebody that does everything right, works their tail off, is a great teammate, and gets to reap the benefits of that is awesome to see.
And when you watch the games, you can see, he's kind of directing traffic out there, as he's getting everybody, trying to get everybody set, trying to call the protections out. But he's very mature for a fairly young man.
No, absolutely. He makes the whole thing go. He makes the whole thing go, and that's what we want. That's why that position in any offense is really important, but in ours, it like I said, if you have that guy, you got a chance to be good and be successful.
John David Baker, offensive coordinator. We told you we'd get you out of here before 1. You got a meeting to go to and get back to work for Pirate football. So Pirate fans want that you get back to work. I don't want you to hang out with me, but we certainly appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming in, going live with us, and best of luck to that Pirate offense the rest of the way.
I appreciate it, Brian.
It's very exciting to watch. John David Baker. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of the Brian Bailey Show on this Tuesday after this.
Want to make your day better? You can now order 2 large original crust one-topping pizzas from Papa John's for only $9.99 each. Take advantage of this awesome carry-out special now by logging on to papajohns.com and make today a pizza day for only $9.99 each. Papa John's is an MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards and start earning points for your favorite menu items. Go Pirates!
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft, and Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
The Buccaneer Music Hall is your beacon of music in the land of the Pirates in ENC. Open at noon 7 days a week with live music. Come enjoy sports trivia with me, Clip Rock, every Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, it's live local acoustic night, along with line dancing from 7 to 9 on Wednesday. Thursday, there's a brand new lineup with Singo starting at 8, followed by karaoke with DJ Dog. Ladies and free both Friday and Saturday nights with the best local bands in the area. Finish the weekend with free games and DJ Kid Scene.
Y'all come get fucked up.
Get your game faces on, Pirates. It's Lindsey Gray with Carolina Caliber. It's time to blast the cannons in the stands and the fields, if you know what I mean. We're flying into Duff season with shotguns galore and shells for days. Don't miss out on Beretta's rebates on 17 different models of long guns and handguns. Get up to $350 back. Get ready for hunting season with the best deals around and the largest selection of firearms and accessories in Eastern NC. Shop online or stop by Carolina Caliber on Fire Tower Road in Winterville. It's a time-honored tradition.
Hey, Pirate Nation, this is Caroline Cook, and if you need an experienced realtor from Eastern North Carolina that was born a pirate, then give me a call. I'm committed to helping you find your dream home, selling your property for the best possible price, and providing top-notch real estate services. I pride myself on local knowledge, professionalism, and commitment to exceeding your expectations. Explore my website, CarolineCookHomes.com, to learn more about the services I provide and the properties I have to offer. Start your real estate journey today by calling 341-1992. Go Pirates.
Phelps Chevrolet is the dealer to see for a car or a truck or an SUV. The best service and quality. That's the Phelps guarantee. Phelps Chevrolet, the name you can trust. Phelps Chevrolet, you can count on us. The name you can depend on. Phelps Chevrolet.
Get you one.
G'day, this is Luke Larson, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show as we wrap things up on this edition of The Brian Bailey Show in Cleveland. The Guardians and the Tigers are being introduced, and what a day this must be for Gavin Williams, the former East Carolina Pirate ace. I just can't put my finger on the fact that he's starting game one of this best of three. And this is a best of three. It's a quick series, so every pitch is vitally important. And we'll get a chance to see him pitch. It's a 1:08 first pitch start in Cleveland and Detroit in game one of this wild card series. Clip Rock is along with us as we Wrap it up here on the Brian Bailey Show. What do you think about Big Gav getting the start? Did you hear his pregame comments yesterday?
I did not. What did he say?
He was so mature and so fired up. And I always think back to whenever he was, he's warming up right now. We're seeing him on the TV right now warming up. But I always think back to when he first got to East Carolina. I think the Pirate coaches knew he was going to be special, and they knew he needed some work with the media because he was very nervous, as most of us would be. But he took some of the things that we talked to him about. We'd ask him questions and practice with him and that kind of thing. But yesterday he was so mature, and he said, look, they know all about me. I know all about them. It's whoever executes pitch by pitch. That's who's going to win this baseball game. And I just thought the way he handled the media and answered the questions, I think he became a man overnight almost.
Well, one of my biggest accomplishments in this job was going an hour with Gavin Williams on Pirate Radio. Because he's just not a talker, but he's a great guy. And he's right, because this is the exact matchup from last Tuesday night. Same ballpark, same pitchers. Gavin, 12 Ks in his performance, left the game trailing actually left the mound trailing. His team got him 3 runs to take a 3-2 lead. So he got the win that night. But this is postseason baseball is awesome. I'm so glad that he and hopefully Trey Savage, I don't know if he's going to make the Blue Jays roster, but Jeff Hoffman, but those guys got me fired up at the end of the season because the Braves were out of it. You got the Pirates and the Cubs. Going for you.
Exactly. Got a lot to root for. We looked it up. I tried yesterday all day to see if I could find that commissioner's exemption. I never could find it. But this morning, Morgan Ehlers, he found it somewhere. Now, it may have been AI generated. It may not have been, but it said that he had been given that grant. So he is eligible to pitch for Toronto. And I think he'll start. One of the games because he is, man, you talk about maturing and just a lightning bolt through the ranks of the minor leagues. And what he's been able to do. And it's just, again, just such a joy to watch those guys. We've seen Jeff Hoffman for years out there. We've seen other Pirates. Alec Burleson had a great year for the Cardinals. But just to watch these guys, and you said it, I mean, playoff baseball, there's just something different about it. I mean, the air is crisp. Every pitch is important. It's just something, really something to behold, and you get a chance. The other thing I like about playoff baseball, at least early, you get day games. Because that's really what it used to be. A lot of day games, and then TV took over, so there's not as many. But we play today. You got Cleveland and Detroit in Game 1 of that wild card series. The Cubs and Padres play at 3:00, and then you got the nighttime double dip. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome stuff, and to see Gav out there throwing out the first pitch of the 2025 MLB playoffs.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You just wonder what his nerves are going to be like, because I buy the fact that, he's seen the Tigers. I think he's pitched against them 3 times, and he had great numbers all 3 times. And so, he's used to it, but this is a different deal, a much different deal. What we got? We got confirmation?
Well, it's not confirmation, but apparent locks for the Blue Jays pitching rotation. Trey Savage is 3rd on this list.
Yeah. I think I saw that article as well. So, I think it's almost obvious that he's going to get a chance, and because he was, man, and what a story that is. His family gets to see his debut. His girlfriend was there. His brothers were there, and just the tears from his dad's eyes. I mean, I'm a crier. I've always been a crier. I'm really a crier as I get older, but seeing that just tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah, the MLB debut was in a minor league ballpark, which is kind of odd, but his Blue Jays home debut, which was Saturday, during a busy college football Saturday, I kind of got swept up in that, and he was awesome in that game. His family was there as well. So the roar of the crowd, too, when Savage and Gavin gets out of a jam last week, pitching in the biggest games of their lives, and now they got more biggest games of their lives to pitch in. But it is really fun to follow.
Some of the emotions that Gavin, and it reminded me, when he was at East Carolina, and I think it was the game when he hit 100 when he on the board.
It was a Campbell game.
It was the Campbell
clinch a series on a Sunday night.
Yeah. And it was just to see that emotion there, and then see the emotion with the Guardians, and just flash back like that. It was just really something to watch. And and I know Cliff is so proud of these guys, and every time they make a major league debut, he takes some of his staff members and they fly and get a picture taken afterwards, which to me is really one of the coolest things you can do. And what a great recruiting tool without having to recruit. I mean, all you got to do is show the picture. And then some kids thinking like, man, I've got it up to 92, and I'm projected to go up to 96, 97, and if they can go to the major leagues from East Carolina University, I want to be a Pirate.
Yeah, and other guys coming through the ranks with Wisenhunt and Agnos in the big leagues this year, and really cool to see a position player like Burley, and hopefully we got more of those. Of course, Connor Norby. Doing a great job to help put the nail in the Mets. That was great to see. Clayton McCullough and Norby finishing them off was cool. But hoping to see more of those position guys too. Jacob Jenkins Coward and others come up through the ranks.
Yeah, Carter Cunningham. A lot of people like him in that organization with Toronto.
Old McChrystal as well. Rhino, playing well. So.
That's really great to see, and this shows you the talent that has come through this East Carolina Pirate baseball program. What did you think of John David Baker today? How did you like some of the answers? I think there were some great questions that came in, and I think that John David Baker has stood up and answered them all, and I really like the way he calls the games, and there's some conservative at times. And he knows on 4th and 1, they've got to be able to get it, because I really believe Blake will throw that book away pretty soon.
Well, I'm glad he knows that. But no, it almost confirmed my speculation that because he said we're still trying to get the running backs down to 2 instead of 3. They've got a lot of toys to play with, and sometimes it seems like they want to play with this one, and then they get tired of that one and go to this one. So we're about halfway through. He's still trying to figure out everything he's got and how to use them, because it is a tough job, Bailey, with one football. So I'm anxious to see what happens. Just a monster game coming up next, though, with Tulane.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. You think about London Montgomery, Parker Jenkins, and Marlon Gunn, and it seems like to me every time Marlon Gunn is in there, he does something good, and the next thing you know, he's not in there for a while. So I don't know if he stays in the doghouse, if he's not. One of the things that I've learned through the years about running backs, if they're not protecting the quarterback on pass plays, then they don't get to play that much. They usually come out. That's a key as far as the running backs go. It's in protection. So maybe that's part of it. Just speculating right there. Not sure how it goes, but it'd be interesting to see when they go from 3 to 2, which 2 they come up with. All right, let's close it out. I want to go watch some playoff baseball. I want to thank John David Baker in his second year as offensive coordinator for joining us live in the studio. It's a bye week for East Carolina. Next week, Blake Harrell joins us for the first part, and Steve Shankweiler will be on with us next week as we get you set for the Pirates and Tulane. That's our show, everybody. We will see you back here next week.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, and also brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, Gavigan Insurance, Greenville Auto World, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, QC Kinetics, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
Join us next week for another edition of The Brian Bailey Show, right here on Pirate Radio.